welcome back to Classic Comics. So, James Gunn announced the release schedule for the new slate of DCU projects on Twitter. I'm just going to go ahead and go through some of the items that he talked about in this video and give my thoughts on them and on just the whole project. Now, of course, he starts out talking about the movies that we already know are coming out this year: Shazam, Blue Beetle, Flash, Aquaman. I mean, these things, they're all non starters. I mean, they're going nowhere. So I'm just going to skip that stuff. So we start out with Creature Commandos. So I've actually been planning for a while to do a video, or maybe a series of videos, where I talk about comic book properties that I think Warner Brothers Discovery should do for the DCU, but that I didn't think they'd ever do. And one of them was Creature Commandos. And lo and behold, here's the first thing we get: Creature Commandos. So James Gunn beat me to that. Hats off to him on that one. Now, this is going to be an animated show. Fine, whatever. This is not the comic book version of the Creature Commandos, actually. The Creature Commandos in the comics are a different set of characters. But and this is more of a, I guess, an updated or modern version of it. That's fine. Now, this seems to be a spin-off from the Suicide Squad movies, because I believe this is Weasel right here from the Suicide Squad movie, the one James Gunn did. The main thing now, this Frankenstein, this guy is from the DC Comics, and he's a pretty cool character, actually. And then this is G.I. Robot right here. That's fine. I'm guessing this is Dr. Phosphorus, maybe. I don't know. There's a couple of different flaming skeleton characters at DC Comics, so I'm assuming this is Dr. Phosphorus, but I'm not sure. And then you've got these two characters, the kind of Bride of Frankenstein looking character and this Creature from the Black Lagoon type character, which I would point out are both female. And these two characters are not in the comics at all. These are totally made up for the cartoon, which makes me kind of wonder. It's like, okay, there's a little intersectionalism creeping in here. And this guy, in the comics, they have this military guy who's sort of like their leader and kind of their minder who keeps track of them. Shreve, I think his name is, and I'm guessing that's who this is going to be. And once, honestly, I would have welcomed this. I would have welcomed Creature Commandos, but I'm at the point where I'm getting kind of tired of superhero characters always being clowns. And I'm just, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so then the next one is Waller. Now, this is where the whole project becomes kind of contradictory to me. I thought this was going to be a new DCU, but apparently, yeah, but not quite. We've still got Viola Davis as Waller and John Cena as Peacemaker hanging around, apparently. As a result, this whole reboot feels kind of incomplete. I mean, if moving on from the Snyderverse and all that was so important, then why are these characters still hanging around? Now, I could live with Viola Davis as Waller, I guess, but I'm really not a fan of that Peacemaker show for a couple of different reasons. Partly because, as I said, I'm tired of superheroes just being clowns all the time. I mean, did the Snyder stuff happen or not? And if it didn't, why are these people still around? If you're going to start over, start over. But that's not entirely what they're doing. Okay, Superman Legacy. I don't really have a lot to say about the Superman movie, except that he's supposed to be just starting out as Superman. And so they wanted to get a younger guy to play him, which is why they dumped Cavill. The thing is, that's what they pretty much did in Man of Steel already, where he's not really Superman yet. And now you're just going to do that again? And also, they said that this is coming out in 25, so in a little over 2 years. So they're going to need to get this script done and get the movie cast pretty quickly. Really, like I said, I don't have a whole lot to say here, except I just hope that it's good. but I'm not convinced that James Gunn is really the best choice to write this character. All right, Lanterns. He said this is a terrestrial based mystery and compares it to True Detective. I'm not sure that's really the best way to go about handling this property. I think you'd be better off doing something in the vein of Lethal Weapon in space instead. And also, it's terrestrial, meaning it's going to mostly be on Earth or maybe entirely on Earth. I mean, I'm not opposed to them being on Earth for a while, but if this whole thing is just going to be a mystery set on Earth, a lot of GL fans are going to be really disappointed. Also, you're presenting Hal Jordan and John Stewart as already Green Lanterns, and yet Superman is just starting out. I mean, really, if you're rebooting and starting over, you really need to start with Superman and then bring in the other heroes afterwards. All right, the Authority. I'll start by saying that I'm not the biggest fan of the Authority. The original series was well written and well drawn, certainly. It's a really well made comic. But I'm just not a big fan of heroes that abuse their power and kill people pretty casually. They're the Justice League, but they kill people, basically. And why are you introducing them, and yet you haven't even gotten to the Justice League yet? All right, Paradise Lost. So this is a prequel set on Paradise Island. And apparently this is a Wonder Woman version of these different prequel shows that we've been getting in recent years, like Gotham, which is set in Gotham before Batman, Krypton, which is set on Krypton before it exploded. So now we're getting Paradise Island before Wonder Woman showed up. So it's a Wonder Woman movie with no Wonder Woman in it. Great. Just what we all wanted, right? Brave and the Bold. So we've got Batman working with his son Damian. And he's Damian to me, as far as I'm concerned. He's not Robin. He's just Damian. Damian's mother is Talia al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul's his daughter. So Batman's already been Batman for at least a decade or so by this point. The central DC characters, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, etc., have always been portrayed as roughly the same age. But now you're giving us a Batman who's already on his fourth Robin, just skipping Dick Grayson and Jason Todd and Tim Drake. If you were going to do this with Batman, then why not just keep Ben Affleck around? And don't tell me it's because you're starting fresh, because you're not really starting fresh, are you? Because Viola Davis and John Cena are still around. Booster Gold. Okay, I like Booster Gold. I do. But it's too early to be bringing this character in. You need to establish your core DC characters first and then build around them and bring in the C and D list characters later, like Booster Gold or the Creature Commandos. Now, there have been rumors that James Gunn wants to bring Chris Pratt over to DC, and I'll bet you that this is the character that he wants Chris Pratt to play, if he does. Booster Gold's kind of a humorous character, and he fits very much into the mold of characters that Chris Pratt usually plays. And again, I like Booster, but it's too soon to bring this character in. Okay. And now we get to it. Supergirl. This is based off of a Supergirl series that was written by Tom King. Anything involving Tom King is D.O.A. as far as I'm concerned. That guy does nothing but ruin characters. I haven't read this Supergirl series, and I'm not going to. Tom King shouldn't be allowed anywhere near DC characters after the shit that he's pulled. And again, you've just introduced Superman, and already you're doing Supergirl too? It's a bit early for that, I think. But I guess they need to have a certain quota of female characters in these projects, and there's no Wonder Woman, so Supergirl gets the nod, I guess. All I know is this was written by Tom King, and apparently he's going to be writing the screenplay too, so it will be garbage. And Swamp Thing. Again, kind of like Superman Legacy, there's not a whole lot I have to say about Swamp Thing. He really didn't give us much, other than it's going to be a horror series, kind of a horror feel to it and be kind of darker. That's fine. Again, I don't have much of an opinion on it one way or another at this point. I just hope that it will be good. So, my main issue here is I thought this was going to be a new version of the Snyderverse to an extent, rebooting the central DC characters Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, etc. in a new universe. Again, they're usually portrayed as being of a similar age, but what we're getting here feels very disjointed and incomplete to me. We're starting Superman from the beginning, but Hal Jordan and John Stewart are already around as Green Lanterns, and Batman, he's been around for what, a decade already? And he's on his fourth Robin. Plus, we're getting characters like Booster Gold, Supergirl, and Creature Commandos right from the jump before we're getting central DC heroes. And we're getting the Authority, an ultra-violent Justice League knockoff, before we're getting a proper Justice League. And on top of it all, the pre-existing versions of Amanda Waller and Peacemaker are still going to be around. And don't even get me started on Tom King. I mean, if with his involvement, this new DCU is D.O.A. as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I'm not pleased with this lineup of projects or how they're handling this reboot, which is really more of a quasi reboot, really, isn't it? Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll all be great somehow. Spoiler, it won't be great. And just look at some of the talent that they're bringing in to handle this stuff. The director of Cloverfield and The Martian, okay, fine, no problem with that. But the head writer of Moon Knight, which was a joke of a series, and Christina Hodgson, who wrote Birds of Prey, a dumpster fire of a movie that was a total flop, not to mention she wrote that Batgirl film, which got shit canned, and she's writing that Flash movie, which I think we all know that thing's going to be a dumpster fire too. And the cherry on top of it all, in the form of a big steaming turd, is going to be Tom King, who shouldn't be allowed anywhere near a DC character. If there's a DC writer I loathe more than him, I can't think of who it is. His presence sullies this whole endeavor as far as I'm concerned. If you want to move away from the Snyderverse and present a Superman in DCU that's more in line with what we know the characters to be, good. But you undo a lot of that when you bring in Tom King to do any character. Tom King doesn't even do deconstruction. He just does outright destruction of DC characters. What you're going to get is nihilism, male heroes who are neurotic, emotionally unstable idiots who need their wives or girlfriends to make all the decisions and call the shots for them because they're either too stupid or too cowardly to take action themselves, or they're just really awful people and their heroic image is all just a facade. I mean, why? Why bring Tom King into this? Okay, I'm going too long, so I'll stop there. So what do you think? Am I wrong? Is this going to be great? Spoiler, it won't be great. Let me know in the comments, and please sub to the channel and hit the bell for notifications, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching.